Hello, I'm Scott, the breathing guy. I'll train you to locate, generate, activate core key energy and physical activity. This video series is golf at any age. And it's basically a step-by-step process to understand golf down to the smallest ideas so you can get out on the course. This whole series begins with the golf bag. What's in the golf bag? And how to use each club in the golf bag. We're going to take one at a time. And the first 4 clubs, or you might say 3 clubs and a putter, is going to be the driver, the 7-iron, a pitching wedge, and a putter. Those 4 clubs you get down really well, you can build around that in your golf club. You can start adding, but those are the 4 clubs in your golf bag we're going to deal with. Okay? This video series is we're going to start training for the driver. The driver is 100% physical. The swing mechanics is repeatable every time. All the other clubs are basically irons to get you to the green. The driver gets you out there, all the other clubs get you to the green, and the putter gets you in the hole. That's how you look the 3 areas of development of the golf swing. So, I'm going to add some interesting commentary. I'm going to present you a new way of a grip, the physical grip of the club. Why should you put it this way? Since you're just starting this out, you can learn it the other way, the normal grip, where most people do it, which is the most ineffective. You talk about golf being hard and you want to really handicap yourself. That other grip where most people that use their clubs, it really handicaps what you really physically can do. I will give you another grip to set up where you can maximize what you physically can do striking the ball. It's about striking the ball. So, let me begin with the driver. Here's a driver. For all you new people, what it is, it's the longest length of a club here. Also, the driver I recommend when you're starting off has a soft shaft. This is a middle ground. Get a little softer on it and feel. And you have to find the feeling. Get it used. Do not get a new one in the beginning. You don't have a feel to find what club works the best for you. So get a nice used one, a soft shaft involved. Now, the big thing here is the grip here. Look at my grip here versus this grip. So you got 2 types of grip. This one goes from thin to thick. This one goes from thick to thin. I call this the baseball grip. I call this ineffective grip. Because why? You'll never see a baseball grip look like this, where you got a thick part that goes down thin and goes back to thick to hit the ball. No, they like this. They go from thin to thick. Because the function, if you look at the function of the left hand and right hand, baseball swing is the same as in golf in the sense it's the right hand that strikes the ball, that brings that club in through to the ball. So understanding that process of what's the difference between the left arm, a hand, and the right hand, what is the purpose of the 2? What is the function in your golf swing involved? And the way I approach it this way, a lot of people don't, so I'm just telling you, I'll show you, I will demonstrate the differences. But anyway, with this here, when you grip it, your left hand, you can put it way here. If you look at Ben Hogan's book, he wants your grip way up here, not here. Here. You can put your finger there, and it's the little finger. Focus on the little finger of the left hand is the key finger. It's the only finger you need the driver. All the rest are there as a guess on there. Now, here's a standard grip right here. When you look here, when you try this, look how far my finger is away from my palm. And look how close my middle finger and ring finger is. By this right here, you really have a problem because of finger ergonomics. This is where what finger you use determines what your hand's going to move, how it's going to move. That's the whole idea of finger ergonomics. You watch a lot of pros, they don't put the finger here, they actually move way down here. So you're losing a couple inches, or an inch or more better on your arc. That's loss of momentum, power, or whatever you want to say. Where here, you can. 2, you can see. You can go all the way to the end. That's what you want. You want see the paper wrap here? You only want 1 strand. That's all you need for this whole grip. What this is a regular. Some people might need a larger one, an extra large, a regular, or a small for some really small hands. But we'll get into that in a minute. Involved. So back to here, the driver involved. So this gets your ball out. How do you swing the driver? I like using this. You put it here, here. So you don't have your ball here, but if you use this grip, you literally have to put the grip down here. That limits your wrist action. That limits your hands action. When this area here goes down to your palm, into your palm, you can't bring the club head around as much in your grip. Versus they talk about, unless you go really low, then you can put it up here, then you have better. You almost have to go lower on your grip for a driver so you can bring it across the palms here. Here, forget it. Naturally, as soon as you squeeze, it goes right into place. So if you're going to use this grip, understand you're going to have to choke it down a little bit so you can get the little finger closer to your palm. The other finger can be soft, and you can make it move towards the front of your knuckle, the front of your hand, like this, involved. If you use this grip, it's natural to have it way up here. You want to have it up here, and you can press your little fingertip right here into the club, soften the other hands. So understanding the grip I offer, I suggest this grip over this grip. And how do you create this? Is reverse this one. All this is this turned around. So you cut off this, push this down to here, cut off that here, and that's it. You have a baseball grip feeling using the driver or any club, especially the sand wedge. That one really makes a difference in the sand wedge involved. So first thing, I'm going to use this. You can use the other grip too. Is how do you start? Okay. Understanding angles now is the problem. To understanding how to swing the driver and bring it down. So you got a whole series of, first off, feet. When you swing, you bring it back. What do you want to do with your right elbow? You don't want it to come up. You don't want it here. You want it straight up and down. That's the first rule. This arm right here has to be straight up and down when you take the club back. The several ways people do take the club back is they make their both arms tight like this. Then they cock their hand like this and go back. That's one way to do it. It's like you're pulling and you're like using both arms to pull the club up. Now the club is what weighs ounces. It's not even a pound, half a pound, whatever, ounces. So why do you have to strain? The more you strain in your muscles, taking the club back, the less range of movement you have. 1. 2 is, what is the function of the right side and left side taking the club back, bringing the club down? Think of difference of the left side and right. Ben Hogan shows it really well in his drawings. So my suggestion, like I said, it's up to you on this one. You can do the standard like here, take it back where you're both hands, and then get here, then start moving back like this. Or, this is my suggestion, footwork, you're doing what's called a closed stand. You always turn the left foot out 22 degrees to your target, and you put this foot, the right foot, back even with the arch. Now it might be a little forward and a little back, depends on how tall you are, short you are, your own character. And I'll show you the reason why later on, but that's what you want. So anyway, there's several grips. When you're first starting out, especially for some women, you might want this grip. It's basically thumb always here, and you bring the other fingers around here, and it's one on top of the other. That way, you actually have more leverage to hit the ball like this. There's other consequences. That grip existed until the early 1900s. And then Ben Hogan says, when an Englishman came over here and won, and he did the overlapping hand grip, which all that did is shorten the distance between the two hands. In other words, look at the distance between here and here, and when you do this, they're closer. So your hands can come more active to do this. You can make your club head go back more. The more like this, the less arch. More like this, I can bring it up farther. The reason for the overlap is to bring the hands closer together so you can do this better. That's it. Like this, you can take it back and you can hit better, but you don't get the distance of the head as much. So understand, you can go start off this way just to get a feel, one on top of the other, and see how you feel it. I mean, it's a great feel once you get that. Then switch over to the overlapping grip, they call it. Sometimes it's better to do that. You build into it because then you got all the other swing mechanics down. But when it comes to the grip, in Ben Hogan's book, the first chapter's of grip, recommended highly. It gives you the importance of the grip over everything else. You get the grip down to strike the ball. It's the grip that strikes the ball. Everything else gets your club to the ball, but it's the way you have your hands determines how much force you can transfer into the ball. So understand, I would suggest for some people, start with a like this, then later on, move down like this, and then there's another one I won't go into involved. But I got literally like 3 stages of development, all to affect the club head distance and your striking ability. Those are 2 factors are separate and involved. So when it comes to the driver, what you want to do is create here. Now I'm going to add something to it. Most people, when they do this, they lean straight forward like this. First off, where do you want to put the ball? Because it's a driver. You want to put it, here's your center of my body, you want to move at least 3 or 4 inches ahead because you want to shift. If you're not going to shift your hips forward, then you put it even with your body. So if you're just going to swing with no shift, you put it even. Placement of the ball is directly relationship to how your hips move. Either move or don't move, and how you angle the shoulders. So you got 2 factors. You got the hips and shoulders. Those are the 2 areas determines where you're going to place the ball. That's it on there involved. So understanding that, it's the 2 areas. So there's many people do this, and then they take like this. I'm going to make a suggestion. Instead of doing that, see your hip here, tilt it like that. That way my spine is straight down, and that way you take it back at an angle and you come back down on that same plane. That's very different than most. 2, like I said, when you take the club back on there, just use this finger. How about that? 2, you can either do it this way. The second way to doing it is stay in this position, cock your wrist. Now some pros, you say do it to about here, then they move the club. I'm going to make a suggestion. Focus on the left thumb and make it as soft. In fact, don't even make it attached. Even when you're like this, make it really soft so you can pull the, even when it's over, hands are separated, so make that thumb as soft as possible. Why? Because then the whole thing is the length of your palm. If you don't, you're going to have a little hole. You don't want that. You want your palm. You want your hand to bring the club down, not just, the more separation. So it's the whole hand, so when you hit it, it's like the whole hand absorbs the force into the ball. And then when it's separated like this, it shortens the distance to how far you can take it back. So the more you soften the left thumb to pull the club back and then up. Now look at my hand here. See how the angle here? You do not want to do this. See my hand like this? There's a number of reasons why. On a muscle coordinated mechanics point of view, you don't want that. You want your left arm straight. You want your right arm bent. That's the goal of taking the club back. You want your left arm straight, and why? It makes the arc. It brings the force, and you attach your left arm to your pec. So whatever your shoulders are doing and the rotational force transmits into that left hand, bringing the club to the ball. All you want is take it back the greatest distance, separation between shoulders and hips, and bring the club to the ball. There's 4 stages in swinging the driver. That's just taking the club back, bringing the club to the ball. 3, crossover. Crossover is this. See how my wrists are touching? And how to finish. So I'm making it as simple as possible on this. So the first thing you want to do is like lining yourself up. If you tip your hips slow like this, like that, and take back versus this. Because then when you come down, then you tip your hips coming down. That's an extra movement. If you already have the hips in position, you just shift. When you have to tip your hips, because when you're hitting, you're not going to hit with your shoulders. And see how my shoulders are playing? You don't want that. And you don't want that and then tip up. You want to come down with that left shoulder up before you hit the ball. The goal is having that left shoulder tip upwards at some angle. I always say a flat shoulders is a flat directional ball. That's the basic. The more the shoulders tilted coming up, coming through the ball, it brings the ball through. Why? Is because this one here is a 10.5 degree angle. So in other words, the angle here is almost flat. Some are 5, 10. So I literally have to come a little bit up. If I go flat at the ball, guess what? Because it's only a 10 degree angle, you're going very, very short. Now that really works well with heavy wind. You don't want to shoot it up high when the wind is blowing, especially crosswords or whatever. Because the higher the ball goes up, the more the wind is going to distort what you want. Either slow it down or do. So the more ground ball. So this is the technique in the golf swing. With the driver, you have to understand, you know, when there's no wind or you want to deal, it's ball. Your left shoulder really determines what. Then how you position the club head, that comes into play with the grip in the grip. But right now, I'm just dealing with the body. Left foot out 22 degrees. Not 40 degrees like this, but 22 degrees. Because that makes that your ability to come around. The right foot perfectly parallel, not turned out, perfectly straight. That's a key point. I'll tell you why. You want the pressure on the ball the whole time taking your backswing. As you're bringing the club down, it's all on the ball of the foot. So understanding this first phase, the grip, you have this type of grip. It's all about the little finger to make your arm straight. Here, this finger here is always soft, always. Point it out, whatever. In every instruction, you'll never say tighten this finger, never. That's a no-no on that. So understanding that, and all you want for the left hand for the driver is the little finger. If you must use the ring finger, it'll have little, throw you off the ring finger or little finger. That's why most people, when they have this grip, they have the little ring finger is the dominant force. So when they're squeezing the grip coming down to hit the ball, that prevents the club head, your hands, to cross over. That limits the crossover if you use your ring finger as a pressure point into your grip as you're striking the ball. That is a fact. I'll back it up any time on this. So understanding for this lesson, to get the driver, you have a choice between, if you want to say this grip or this grip here, the normal grip, like this, you thick at top, then at the bottom, it's the worst type possible, or a baseball type of grip, like this, where you reverse it. Where that way, when you put your hand in there, you can really make that right hand. Now the right hand here, if you take a look, you want it on that knuckle, not in here, not on the muscle, on the knuckle. You want that. Even with your grip now, anyone that's listening to this, you do not want to grip it where it's on the muscle, because coming through, it's flex. If you have it on the muscle, it's your palm. The palm is pushing the club head through the ball. Look at it that way. If it's on a bone, there's no flex. If it's on a muscle, it's going to wobble. When you hit something, there's going to be a slight concussion vibration. In fact, I think it was Sam Snead said, When you're hitting out, you use your palm. He meant that point. You'll see a lot of other players in the past say this point here. It's the way how you rest it on your grip. And then how you position your grip for a turn is that you turn, see this here? As Ben Hogan says, you bring it, point this, going up to your eye. You go underneath this for the right hand, because when you're coming down, that shoulder's coming up, that makes the palm straight. So when you're setting up for the grip, this takes practice. You gotta have an idea of that left shoulder coming up. So you gotta adjust your grip, so when the left shoulder comes up, it makes the palm, makes the hand go flat. Two, when you take it back, you wanna cock your wrist, so you got this here, not this. You don't want this, you want it like this. When you do this, your left arm can be strong. Like this, I can bend your elbow so easy. So your hands should move the clubs, not your arms. That's the number one rule. How do you feel your hands, your fingertips, moving the club? And then in doing so, it shapes your arm and the rest of the body involved. So this is about the grip, the two different types of grips. One, the stance, open stance, and make sure your feet are past the shoulders, just slightly past the shoulders. That's the other thing. The left foot's out 22 degrees. The right foot is perfectly straight ahead. That's what you want. That's involved. And the grip really determines. If I use the standard grip, same position here, but usually most people choke it down because so they can get the little finger around that better. Because when it's way up here, it just makes these two fingers dominant, and that messes up your crossover and so many things in the swing. It's unbelievable. But if you do this for this grip, if you got to use this grip, go down. So you get there across here, bring your hand way up here. That's it. And then you wrap here. So it's more like this. But the number one thing here is soften the thumb. Don't press it. Let the thumb, and then pull the club. That stretches your hand out. Believe me. Now, and see how I try to get it flat here. So it's an even cross. But you literally have to, if it's here, it won't work. You have to bend it. If it's here, you can get it flat out with time with stretch. And never use this finger. So the only finger on the left hand you need is this finger here until after you hit the ball. The little finger, and you press the finger tip in it. That's it. All the other fingers are soft. This one's totally out of it, if you can. Two, for newcomers, you can do basically one on top of the other. That was how they used to swing the clubs way back before the 1900s, when an Englishman changed it to a crossover grip, where they like this, where you close the wrist together, which gives you more wrist action, permits the club goes back. But in the beginning, just to get the swing and feel how you can hit the ball better, try just one on top of the other. You can always switch to this once you get that down. You don't have to start here because it's harder. Remember, all the people that switched to this back in the turn of the century were originally doing this. So it was just like, oh, I got my swing down. I just, do this. And it amplified the game. But starting off with this sometimes can be a little bit more challenging than necessary to get you out on the game and get you to feel your club. That's why you're using used clubs, because you don't know the feel, and it comes with time, practice, and effort at home even. So this is about the grip. This is golf at any age, dealing with the two types of grips, the stance involved. I will repeat it on the next one.